So QSR is basically a kind of quantitative structure activity relationship. So we have conducted so many presentations, so many classes on the same, and we discuss what are the parts of histories and all these things. Then we also studied many of the descriptors for the QSR. What is QSR? Types of the definition, and we have seen majorly these are the major types of the descriptors: physicochemical descriptors, electronic, steric, lipophilicity, hydrogen bonding, and other as well. So then we identified that if a descriptor should be a quantifiable one, and we should keep in mind that whatever the descriptors we are selecting, that should be a reliable descriptor, and because there is a danger of selecting the wrong kind of descriptor. So this we have to keep in mind whenever we are selecting the kinds of the descriptors. And what are the types of descriptors? We have uh, seen their classification, their varieties of classes according to spatial descriptors, quantum chemical descriptors, electronic descriptors, hydrophobic descriptors. So descriptors itself means they are going to describe the molecule. That's why they are called as the descriptors. These are the two major types of the approaches which we have seen: Hans analysis and frame Wilson analysis. So we will be learning these two kinds of approaches in the depth. But just for the sake of your introduction, I came to the approach that what is the meaning of. I have kept this slide so that we can learn that what can be the Hans analysis or some kind of free Wilson. Hammett substituent constant. We in the last class we learned this in depth, that what is the meaning of Hammett substituent constant. And basically when in 1934 when Hammett has given this kinds of classification, so he sorry this kinds of descriptors, so he has already restricted these descriptors to only components of chemistry, only chemistry component that he has covered in his theory. But as of now, what is that? So that is basically a hydrolysis, some kind of benzoic acid which is treated with water. So in the presence, it will undergo ionization kinds of the thing. So H plus from benzoic acid will protonate water, it will make hydronium ion H3O plus. So this can be different rates have been observed as the dissociation constants are different for unsubstituted benzoic acid versus substituted benzoic acid. So there is a question that how do we correlate the dissociation constants for unsubstituted benzoic acid versus that of the substituted? So this can be addressed very well by the substituent, by the constant named as Hammett substituent constant. This is the constant which can be considered as the ratio for the log of ionization constant of a substituted acid, wherein Ka of Rx is the ionization constant or dissociation constant of substituted benzoic acid. And this RH, which is on your screen, that is basically a rate determining constant for or dissociation constant for this unsubstituted simple benzoic acid. So this the log of the ratio of this to dissociation constants of substituted acid to that of the unsubstituted acid, that is called as this dissociation constant. So we have seen very categorically in the last slide. We also the message was that nitro is a predominant group which is having highest dissociation constant and resulting in highest value of sigma. So sigma basically that is a Hammett substituent constant, and that is dependent upon the electronegative character and electron donating characters of the substituents or the functional groups. Here we can see that this is a basically a kind of rates of the reactions for electrophilic aromatic substitution. That electrophilic aromatic substitution which might have been taught by Dr. Sureja in his some of the classes. first year PharmD program. So at that time he has discussed that if a reaction, if a substituent which is having electron donating groups, then the rate of electrophilic aromatic substitutions will be high. But the same case is with electron withdrawing group, this rate of the reaction will be inferior. And also in some of the classes I have taught you, electron withdrawing groups are responsible for increasing the acidity of the functional group, such as para-nitrobenzoic acid is more acidic substance than simple benzoic acid or uh, para-anisic acid. Point from the message of that uh, observation is, which we have learned in first year PharmD organic chemistry, that is electron withdrawing groups increases the acidity and electron donating groups are responsible for decreasing the acidity. So this why we are studying these kinds of protonation versus deprotonation. So there is a reason for that one. What is the reason? That protonation and deprotonations will allow the molecules to be active. Perfect example for this one is this sulfonamide. We have seen that the sulfonamides, which are basically analogs of para-aminobenzoic acid, called as PABA. This PABA, which undergoes ionization and that produces this carboxylate anion as well as this proton. Similarly, the analogues of PABA, sulfanilamide, which happens to be antibacterial substance. So this antibacterial substance also that undergo ionization and they produces H plus as well as this kind of sulfanilamide anion or salt, and they exert their antibacterial action after losing this proton. So whatever the concept has been proposed by Hammett, that chemical ionization is there, so why not that Hammett constant can be applicable to drugs like this, sulfonamides? Can we explore whatever the Hammett has given for chemical reaction for these kinds of reaction? The answer is yes. And what is the general observation? The general observation is that if substituents are electron withdrawing groups, then they will withdraw the electron from on the head of the oxygen and they will try to stabilize the charge. We have learned that deloc- charge delocalization that is responsible for increasing the acidity, and charge delocalization is responsible for increasing the sterility, and charge localization is responsible for decrement in acidity. This is the reason that nitro is a kind of electron withdrawing group that withdraws the electron from the benzene ring and delocalizes the electron which is present, or electron pair which is present on the head of the oxygen, and thus it stabilizes this conjugate base and thus it increases the acidity. And resulting is that this ionization constant for substituted acid that is higher than that of the unsubstituted acid. If Kx is greater than Kh, then naturally the sigma x will be a positive value because Kh is the nominator and Kh is denominator. Fine. Then the same thing we also learn in the last class, that is for electron donating groups. Electron donating groups are generally like this, and they will donate the electrons to the benzene ring. As you can see, this red arrow which indicates this substituents will donate electrons to the benzene ring. This benzoic acid will form and conjugate base which will in which this oxygen is having a charge. So this methyl electron donating groups such as methyl, they will further give electrons to the benzene ring, somehow kind of hyperconjugation effect, as well as towards the oxygen. So already there was a charge on the oxygen, and instead of reducing the charge, this charge has been doubled, has been increased. Because of this, this conjugate base will undergo destabilization. That will be destabilized. If it is destabilized, then reaction will promote not to go in forward direction. It will promote to go to backward direction, right? And that's why this K ionization constant for substituted acid that decreases, but for an unsubstituted acid that will be higher. So in mathematics, in mathematical terminology, we can also say if Kx is greater than Kh, then this sigma x, which is ultimately the ratio of the log of the ratio of Kx to Kh, that the value will become negative. So, in a nutshell, these are the conclusions that sigma value basically depends upon inductive effects or the resonating effects, and that also depends upon whether the substituent is meta or para. And ortho cannot be considered as a true fact. Ortho fact values cannot be considered as a true one because they are responsible for causing somehow stress. Okay. And this is one of the example where QSR equations such as this has been enlisted for studying the insecticidal activity of diethyl phosphates, which happens to be insecticides. So there is a general observation for this QSR equation that log 1 upon C is equal to 2.282 minus 0.348. So this equation can be correlated with the mathematical equation of y is equal to mx plus c, where y is will become your log 1 upon c, m is your slope 2.282, x is basically your sigma parameter, and your intercept that happens to be minus 0.34. So here you can observe that in this kinds of equation, this sigma is plus. So naturally, if you can note it down as well, if sigma is plus, so sigma plus कब होता है? Sigma is always positive whenever there is a presence of electron withdrawing groups. So electron withdrawing groups are the kinds of the groups which are responsible for increasing the Hammett constant, and thus if Hammett constant is increased, then this log 1 upon c biological activity also, we can say like that, if electron wave for this kinds of this QSR equation has revealed that activity will increase whenever there will be a presence of electron withdrawing group. So if we can develop such QSR equation, then for further improvement on activity, here whatever the X which is present on this substitutions on this phenyl ring as a substituent, we should introduce electron withdrawing groups such as nitro, such as trifluoromethyl CF3 or cyno or even amide or even aldehydes or any carbonyl compounds, because all these are the functional groups which act as electron withdrawing. Fine. So this is the message of these slides, that electron withdrawing groups increases the activity for this uh, kinds of insecticide compound. Now another way, that is another kind of parameter which we have to learn after this Hammett substituent constant, that is Taft steric constant. So this is one of the parameter which has been devised by a scientist whose name is Taft. And from his name, this parameter is also termed as Taft's steric constant, and that is represented symbolically as ES. What is this factor? Just like Hammett, Taft has studied first this factor for a chemical reaction. And in what is that chemical reaction? That chemical reaction is the hydrolysis of the ester molecule. So this is that ester molecule RCOO CH3. reacted with the water. So naturally, this acidic ester bond, which is present over here, that will undergo hydrolysis and it will form carboxylic acid as well as methanol. So this is a simple reaction called as hydrolysis of a ester, where R, which represents a general functional group, it can be methyl, ethyl, propyl, or ethyl. So we are not interested whether it is methyl or ethyl. So simply it is represented as R. It represents all the kinds of alkyl groups, whether they are long chain, simple unbranched or branched alkyl chain. So this is a symbol of basically equilibrium arrow. So that want to specify that reaction is in equilibrium. Means a forward reaction as well as the backward reaction. Both the kinds of reactions are in equilibrium with, and this carboxylic acid which is present over here. So further there can be reaction between this methyl and methanol and carboxylic acid to release a water molecule and to form ester. So this reaction is basically in. Now Taft has further studied the rate for this reaction. And he has taken, let me tell you, methyl carbonate, N-propyl carbonate, tertiary butyl carbonate by taking this R as different alkyl groups. So then he has compared that what is the effect of R on the rate of hydrolysis of the esters, whether it decreases or increases. So this is the bottom reaction below this top one that want to say that the effect on the rate of different or the effect of R on the rate of hydrolysis of different esters. All esters are methyl esters of carboxylic acid. So naturally, as you can see, this is a water molecule which is having a lone pair. There are actually two water lone pairs on water molecule. So here it is shown that either of these will attack on this carbonyl carbon. As we know, this is a nucleophilic substitution reaction. So this there will be a charge which will go to the head of the oxygen when it will be back. So ethanol or methoxide will leave, or that will leave from the parent molecule. So this is a basic reaction. So now what will happen, that Taft has studied that if we increases the R, so ये आपको जो यहाँ से ऐसे करके जो all these you are showing the arrows which is to represent the increase in the size of the R. जैसे मिथाइल वेरी स्मॉल मॉलिक्यूल, इथाइल तो थोड़ा बड़ा है, उसके बाद प्रोपाइल तो और बड़ा है, लेकिन उसके बाद ब्यूटाइल तो अ लॉन्ग फोर चेन, फोर कार्बन unbranched chain. But if we have tertiary butyl, so a single carbon is connected with three atoms. So इसीलिए the bulkiness that will be higher for tertiary butyl than the methyl. Friends, naturally, we can assume from this that if a water molecule is there and it is going to attack on carbonyl carbon, so if R is a smaller functional group, so that it can easily hydrolyze. If R is a bigger molecule, then what will happen that water will not be able to attack here. जैसे आप कुश्ती में होता है, पहलवानी जो खेल खेलते हैं, दंगल मूवी तो आप सभी ने देखा ही होगा, नहीं देखा है तो देख लेना, ऐसा मैं नहीं कहता हूँ, बट इन जैसे इफ यू कैन सी that if there is a someone who is a fighter and other opponent fellow is a very weak person, uh, single हड्डी or what we can say दुबला पतला शरीर है उसका, what will happen, definitely the person will win over the other weak person. But if the person is strong, a strong bodybuilder type का है, so then what will happen, the person in which we are interested in him or her to make as a winner will not be able to do the things easily. So similarly here also, if R is a methyl group, very small molecule, so definitely hydrolysis is easy. But if R is a bulky molecule, then hydrolysis to hoga. Hydrolysis is not impossible, but hydrolysis will occur at a slow rate. So the point is, the message we want to share is that the rate of the hydrolysis, that is dependent upon the rates of this, provided there will be less uh, or inferior rates can be observed when R is bulky. And the perfect example to demonstrate this bulkiness of the R, which is tertiary butyl, a single carbon which is connected with three methyl. So that can be called as tertiary butyl. So same thing is that all in fact this hydrolysis is acid catalyzed hydrolysis. दोनों तरह के hydrolysis होते हैं, acid catalyzed hydrolysis as well as base catalyzed hydrolysis. Hydrolysis which is presented on the screen, or we have presented, that is acid catalyzed hydrolysis. So here TAF has also, by looking at the motivation from the Hammett, whatever Hammett has done, the same way TAF also get motivated. What TAF has might have thought that यदि Hammett ने अपना मतलब Hammett ने rate of hydrolysis ही कंसर्न किया है और इलेक्ट्रॉन withdrawing और इलेक्ट्रॉन donating groups लेके, if he can give his own parameter, then why not, by taking the concerns of this bulkiness of R, why not I can give my separate parameter? Why not a different parameter such as TAF study constant can be given? So this way, look, inspired by the work, whatever has been done by Hammett, TAF has also tried to give a different constant. And he compared the same thing, the rate of hydrolysis of substituted ester versus the rate of the hydrolysis of unsubstituted ester. सब्स्टिट्यूटेड एस्टर में उसने ऐसा किया कि जो बल्की एस्टर था उसको उसने ऊपर रखा और स्मॉल मॉलिक्यूल था उसको उसने डिनोमिनेटर रखा. So just like Hammett, substituted divided by unsubstituted. So here it is also, I mean to say, bulky ester divided by that of the uh, unbulky or small ester. So these are the things which he has concerned, and he has given this a new parameter named as TAF steric constant. So these things we should keep in mind. We should always have a kind of thing that why not, if Hammett can have his own constant, Taft can have his own constant, then what stops us, you people, to define your own constant for these kinds of effects? So why not we can have Bhavar substituent constant? Why not we can have Hetvi substituent constant? We can have, provided that whatever the work we are doing, it should have scientific justification, and whatever the constants are being proposed, they should have their sufficient relevance in scientific domain. That is also possible, whatever I just discussed, that why cannot we have own constant? So that is possible, but we have to have sufficient justification behind that. एंड वो ऐसा नहीं है कि जैसे हवा में बात करने से हमें सफलता और वॉट एवर वी विल गेन द सक्सेस, बट वी विल हैव टू work hard. We will have to spend our days and nights on a particular topic. We'll have to think a lot behind our question, and then we can achieve to the our success path. So these are the two constants. One is called Hammett's substituent constant, and other is Taft steric constant. So Hammett has worked on electron withdrawing and electron donating capacity of a functional group, and Taft has worked on this steric behavior of effect of the rate of effect of bulky functional groups on rate of hydrolysis. So whether it is ionization or whether it is hydrolysis, the basic science is what is the effect of unsubstituted versus that of the, sorry, what is the effect of substituted versus unsubstituted. So that is the effect. So in another words, this expression is much closer to that proposed by. So in another words, I have clearly defined here that perhaps it is not visible in last slide. So in this slide, an attempt has been made to make you more clear that this Raman constant, which are top study constant, represented as ES, that is the ratio of the logarithm of the ratio of the rate of the hydrolysis of substituted ester divided by the rate of the hydrolysis of unsubstituted ester. So this logarithmic ratio is termed as Taft steric constant or Taft steric character. So let us study what is the effect of different substituents, such as hydrogen, methyl, ethyl, propyl, butyl, halogens, and electron donating and electron withdrawing groups on this Taft steric. So for the previous reaction which we have studied, if this R is hydrogen, then this rate constant is means hydrogen को हमने standard लेके चला. We are going to keep hydrogen as a standard one, and then we are comparing all these values. So for methyl, you can observe this ES is minus 12.4. For propyl, that is minus 1.6. For tertiary butyl, that is minus 2.78. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, minus highest among halogen is negativity, this minus 1.16. OH, SH, they have their own values. Nitro, that is minus 2.52. So we can see previously with Hammett constant, nitro was the highest. Nitro was one of the parameter to lead to highest value of sigma. Here, highest value of ES staff study constant, that is with 9, and that value is in negativity. This value is minus 3.82. Okay, and second highest, that is with this substitutide minus 2.78. So we can assume there is a lot impact of bulkiness of a functional group on staff steric constant. Rather than electron donating capacity and electron withdrawing capacity are no more, because here the rate of hydrolysis is independent of or maybe a contribution hoga, but that contribution is less than bulkiness of the molecule. Here, bulkiness of the molecule is playing a major role in the definition of the rate of hydrolysis. Okay, so you can observe that hydrogen, which is having a value of 0, methyl is having value of minus 1 to 1.24, and tertiary butyl is having the value of minus 2.78. So because of this, different constants have been observed for all the kinds of this. Okay, is it clear up to this? Any questions, doubts? So we can have interaction in between. You do not need to wait till the end. Doubt है किसी को? Can ask the concern as well. Now coming to the effect of this, that where this can be applicable. Because so whatever we have seen in the last slides, those are only just chemical reactions. But what it has to deal with QSAR, because QSAR generally deal with biological activity and their structure. The question is why I am talking, or why Taft and Hammett were talking about the chemical reaction. The concern is that if that these constants can be applied to chemical reactions, then why not they can be applied to the biological reactions which will occur into the body. Biological reaction क्या है? जैसे if we are giving a certain drug, it will go to the body, it will inhibit the enzyme, receptors, transporters, or any ion channels. So all this is also kind of chemical reaction. If that is organic chemical reaction, then this is biochemical reaction. If that is organochemical, this is biochemical. If this is that one is related to only organic chemistry, this is related to medicinal. So keeping this in mind, Taft steric constant can also be applied to this kinds of QSAR. So this is again a QSAR equation for organophosphorus compounds, and organophosphorus compounds are naturally known for inhibition of acetylcholine esterase. This is one of the enzyme which is responsible for hydrolysis of ester bond of acetylcholine. The acetylcholine के भी structure में there is something called ester bond, phosphate ester bond. So this phosphate ester bond is reduced by cleaved by this esterase enzyme, acetylcholine esterase. जैसे acetylcholine esterase है वैसे butyrylcholine esterase भी होता है. So acetylcholine is basically a neurotransmitter which is present in our body, which is responsible for communication of the certain messages in between the neurons in parasympathetic system. Okay. So these drugs, organophosphates, are going to inhibit the this acetylcholine esterase. If we can inhibit acetylcholine esterase, then in the body the level of acetylcholine will go on increasing, and that will help to maintain sufficient pool, sufficient concentration of acetylcholine into the body. And then we can have certain movements or the subsequent. So this is a QSAR equation. This is simple like a mathematical equation. Y is equal to mx plus c. So this kinds of QSAR equation can be applicable to organophosphorus compounds. You can see again in the last class we discussed why we are taking 1 upon c. Suppose it will signify the property of the molecule. It will signify the lower concentration of a molecule, and that is ultimately mean for potency. So we are interested more in potency of the molecule, so that's why it will be like log 1 upon. So here log 1 upon c is equal to 2.58 yes plus 7.94. So this yes is plus. Now what does it signifies? That if this substituent constant increases, then activity also, because they are in direct correlation, and this value is also plus. समझ में आ रहा है कि what is the effect of this, and this kind of equation will help us that हमारे molecule में जितना भी जितना भी bulkier functional group होगा उतनी activity ज्यादा है. So this kinds of contribution of steric effects on certain kinds of. So now the third parameter after this, that is also
सर,
followed. Yes,
ये 7.94 and 2.58 क्या है?
are just kinds of जैसे आप if we compare this is with the equation for a straight line. So if I can draw basically a kind of graph. So graph is like this. This is your x axis. These are your y axis. Okay. So what is the if I want to go for a straight line like this? So here let me draw a straight line. And the equation for a straight line in mathematics, this equation for a straight line is equal to y is equal to mx plus So it is little bit tricky to draw whenever we are to write in a PPT slide using the mouse, and that's so here you can compare this y with log 1 upon c. So we will put here our y-axis will be log of 1 upon y. X is generally our this staff steric constant. So that is ES. So whatever the values of ES, we will be drawing putting here. So जैसे आप you will be doing certain kinds of graphs in your this फार्मास्यूटिकल एनालिसिस जैसे आप थोड़े एक्स के वैल्यूज अभी तो आपने प्रैक्टिकल नहीं किया बिकॉज ऑफ दिस लॉकडाउन एक्सेट्रा but this is the way that first we will put a certain point here that for a particular value of es what is the activity of log 1 upon c or the particular value of this what is the value of log 1 upon c so another value of es what is the value of log 1 upon c and what for another value of this what is the value of log 1 upon c. After that, what we are doing, we will draw a straight line for connecting all these dots and it will result in a certain kind of straight line. Now coming to your questions, what are these 2.58 and 7.94? The 7.94 that is your intercept which is how far your straight line is far from a 0 point or where the x and y both are 0. So that is called intercept. And this m that is basically slope. So slope will tell you that what is the difference between the y1, y2 and what is the difference between x1, x2. તો તેને ગુજરાતીમાં કહીએ તો એક આપણે ગ્રાફનો ઢાળ અને છેદ અંતરછેદ you might have remembered. So that dhar is called as slope. Basically, this is y1 point you can mention here. Y1 minus y2. I do not know whether you would have calculated in any kind of slopes during your physics also. Physics में भी आपने थोड़ा slope calculation सीखा होगा. That 2.58 is the value of slope. 2.58. 7.94 is your intercept. That for the particular value, how much it is far from the so that is called, and these are basically called constants. So, or they are also called as correction factors sometimes because this log 1 upon c and activity are somewhat different from each other. And 2.58 and 7.94 are called correction factors. Okay, is it clear, Anal?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So now next is
Sir,
log.
that value varies according to compound.
Yes, exactly true. If we are developing the QSAR for organophosphorus compounds, it will be different. If we are developing certain anti-TB compound, anti-tubercular compounds, and their QSAR, again activity will be different. And if we are dealing with another structures, activity will be. And also, they say in this way model, just it has been emphasized that only one parameter is playing the key role. But in fact, it is not like that. There can be more than one parameter. Just like I have given previously the example of the selection of a good basketball team. So there are many factors. यहाँ पर तो आपको स्टडी फैक्टर का ही एक बताया गया है. बट ऐसा ना जैसे कि हमें बास्केटबॉल टीम बनानी है तो जैसे वी हैव आइडेंटिफाइड सम ऑफ द गुड क्वालिटीज दैट द basketball player should have enough height, he should be or she should be enough strong, and she should have the running capacity, he or she should have jumping ability as well, right? तो ऐसा नहीं है कि हाँ सबसे क्लास में सबसे ज्यादा जो फास्ट दौड़ता है उसको ही हम टीम में ले लेंगे। And feel so perhaps the fast runner of the class may not be able to jump properly because his or her height is short. So in that case, he or she cannot be selected in basketball team. So point is to tell that it is not sometime, but it should be overall contribution from all sufficient height, sufficient jump, sufficient caliber or potential, so that he or she can be selected in basketball team. Similarly, here also that if we want to develop a certain drug molecule, certain good molecule from QSAR, then molecule should have sufficient electronic character, sufficient steric character, and sufficient lipophilic character, or additionally some other character. ये जो पैरामीटर्स होते हैं, these are 2.58 or 7.94, these are called correction factors, and this correction will help us to directly correlate the parameter of our interest to the biological activity. Okay, so we have seen two parameters, half study constant and electronic parameter. The third parameter, that is log p. So now log p is what? Log p is the basically defined as a logarithm of p. What is p? P is basically called as partition coefficient, or that is also termed as distribution coefficient, or sometimes it is also called as diffusion coefficient. Okay, so आप फार्मास्यूटिक्स में सेम फैक्टर स्टडी करने जाओ तो वन आप आई डू नॉट नो वेदर यू हैव बीन टॉट वन कंपार्टमेंट मॉडल, टू कंपार्टमेंट मॉडल्स, or if pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics. So that time this P is called as distribution coefficient or diffusion coefficient. जब हम केमिस्ट्री में स्टडी करते हैं तब इसको बोलते हैं पार्टीशन कोएफिशिएंट. Now why partition coefficient is required? Because now whatever the drug which are with us, we are going to give it to either oral cavity or to directly through injection into the body. So a drug will go to our body. Now we know that 70% of our body is made up of water. 30% क्या है? 30% is basically there are many membranes, cell membrane, then Golgi bodies, and all the kinds of cellular machineries which are present in the cell wall we have. So although human bodies does not have cell wall, but point is to tell that all these kinds of 70% of aqueous, 30% of somehow kind of lipoidal tissues. Okay? And especially this partition coefficient is highly useful for making an anti-tubercular drug. Now, why? Because tuberculosis is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and this mycobacteria have cell wall which consist of mycolic acid. And mycolic acid is a kind of a kind of uh, s- uh, substance which is composed of peptidoglycans, mixture of uh, complex substance. A complex structure is the key features of mycolic acid. So, if we want to develop a drug which will selectively kill mycobacteria, then definitely that drug should be able to cross the cell wall. क्योंकि सेल वॉल को क्रॉस करके जब जाएगी सेल बैक्टीरिया के अंदर, तभी तो उसे वो किल कर पाएगी. So that is the limit of a drug. इसलिए जब हम कोई भी ड्रग हम डिजाइन करते हैं तब वी शुड कीप इन माइंड दैट अ ड्रग शुड हैव सफिशिएंट लिपोफिलिक कैरेक्टर. क्योंकि वो पानी में ही सॉल्युबल है तो चलो ठीक है, जैसे ही मुंह में से पानी दिया तो बॉडी भी 70% पानी है, और उसी से वो यूरिन से सीधा निकल जाएगी. Ultimately, it should reach to the site of the action where it could not reach. That's why drugs should have sufficient solubility in water and sufficient solubility in lipoidal tissue as well. There are so many tissues in blood which represents adipose tissue is also kind of lipoidal tissues. So that we also have to keep in mind when we are studying this. Now, partition coefficient of P, which is a ratio of the solubility of a drug in octanol versus divided by the solubility of a drug in this water. Now, the question is why we are selecting this octanol. There is a reason for that one. Octanol is a kind of substance. I can draw the structure. They have methanol or ethanol. You know the structure of methanol, CH3OH. Ethanol, CH3CH2OH. So N-octanol is a kind of substance which is having not color. So I let me draw it. Okay, so it will be visible just in a moment to all of you. So here, if I want to draw the structure of N-octanol, so that is 8 carbon long chain. These are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. These are the 8 carbons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that 8 carbon chain is connected with OH. Okay, so this is the structure of N-octanol. We can also call it as CH3, CH2, 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 7 times CH2, and then okay. So this is the structure of N-octanol, normal octanol, unbranched chain. So in the structure of this, it represents this 8 carbon long chain that represents hydrophobic character, or also sometimes lipophilic character. And OH is basically a kind of hydroxyl, so naturally it is a polar function group. Why we are selecting an octanol? Because it is a mixture of hydrophobic and hydrophilic functional groups. Hydrophobic functional group is this 8 carbon long chain, and hydrophilic functional group is this water. That's why we are selecting N-octanol, and ऐसा कहा जाता है कि the N-octanol is also mimicking biological membrane. मतलब biological membrane की जो lipophilicity है, that lipophilicity is same as that of N-octanol. That's why we are taking N-octanol whenever we are determining lipophilicity. So this lipophilicity P, which is also sometimes called as permeability, ability of a drug molecule to transverse the biological membrane. So that is called lipophilicity or permeability. This P is equal to concentration of a drug in octanol divided by concentration of a drug in water. So this is basically P, and the ratio of P is called as uh, that is called as log P. Why we are taking P? So P and its log. So previously I have also explained to you that by taking a logarithm, of certain substance, we can convert a big number into smaller one. They say if I have 10, if I take 1, so log of 1 will become 0. If I have 10, so log of 10 that is 1. If I take 1000, so log of 1000 will become 3. If I take 10,000, so log of 10,000 will become only 4. So what is the why we are taking a log? By taking a log, we can convert a bigger number into only some single digit number, for example of this. So that's why log p is taken, so we can convert a big number into a smaller number. So it is always suggested that if log p is greater than 0, so according to Lipinski rule of phi, the log p value that should be greater in between 0 to 5, and 5 से भी ज़्यादा हो सकता है. There are certain drugs also have log p greater than 5 because of their higher molecular weights, but also they are used. So, a point I want to say that log p should be at least in between 0 to 5. And drug should have sufficient lipophilicity. Log p का value 0 में भी होता है. You can see on this charts that log p is also -1 and -2 because it is a kind of ratio. If the drug is highly soluble in water, then definitely this ratio will become negative. That's why for lipophilic and for hydrophilic drugs, this ratio will become 0. And if solubility is equal in water as well as octanol, then log p will become 0. क्योंकि log 1 will become 0. And log 1 तभी होता है जब solubility of drug in octanol, solubility of drug in water both are equal, then log p will become 0. And if our drug is highly soluble in octanol, then definitely log p value will be greater than 0, or maybe greater than 1. So these are the various charts which represent the log their biological activity versus some other parameters with their uh, log. So what I want to say is that biological activity can be also a functional part of log. So this is another example for you people where anticonvulsion activity of a certain molecule has been discussed to correlate with their log P. So here log 1 upon C is equal to 0.73 plus log P plus 2.5. And if this log P is positive, so it says that if log P increases, this biological activity will also increase because this value is plus. And this is basically for these kinds of compounds, anti-conversion compounds, identoin kind of series, just like similar identoin ring is also present. If X is NH, then it will R1 R2 will become phenyl, then that will be your phenytoin drug, which you have also learned how to synthesize phenytoin in some of the. Okay. This is another way of something to say that if we can also correlate the biological activity of a drug with their log P, and this is activity or binding of certain drugs which binds to serum albumin. Warfarin is one of a drug which is responsible for binding to RBCs or serum albumin. So there are so many drugs which will bind selectively with albumin proteins. Warfarin is one of them. So we can also develop a certain kind of correlationships with these molecules. Okay, so this is the last slide I will cover for today's session, and that is much more important. This is basically a kind of parabolic curve. What does it parabolic curve reflects? That if the log p value increases, then this log activity is also increases, activity increases. Log p increases, activity increases. But if at certain point of log p, this activity is maximum, Okay, I repeat, at certain point of log P, activity is maximum. But after that, if we increases log P, then activity decreases. Further we increases log P, activity decreases. Further जितना भी चलो इसको बहुत बढ़ा देते हैं, highest value of log, then it, so this kind of observation is called non-linear observation. Linear observation में ऐसा होता है कि one parameter increases, the other parameter also increases. At certain value, it maximums, maximum value of one parameter, other parameter also increases. And after certain time, it decreases. So इसीलिए आप, this is explained by this kinds of the curve, where log p is positive for this, but after certain value जितना भी increment होगा log p में, there will be double fold reduction in activity. थोड़ा सा भी increment होगा log p में, तो activity में double fold reduction होगा. So this is observed by this. Similarly, we will also meet this kinds of curve when we will be learning non-linear Hans theory or Hans equation. Okay, so there are two types of the equation. One is what theorems. One is called linear theorem, and other is called non-linear theorem. So non-linear theorem is like this: the parabolic curve. गुजराती में આપણે કહીએ તો પરવલય આકાર. So that parabolic curve is for the hydrophobicity of the molecule that can be like this. And this is for general anesthetics, because general anesthetics are generally used for creation of general anesthesia before doing surgery. तो इसीलिए है ना, डॉक्टर उस पहले पेशेंट जैसे ही पेशेंट का एब्डोमिनल सर्जरी है कुछ भी है तो उसको लोकल इंजेक्शन देते हैं, फिर थोड़ी देर बाद वो फैलता है, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन that injection distributes into the body in the lipoidal tissues. After certain a period of time, it will produce the general anesthetic. उसमें भी ध्यान रखना चाहिए कि बहुत ज्यादा जनरल एनेस्थेटिक्स का डोज हो गया तो कभी ऐसा ना हो कि पेशेंट है वो कॉमा में चला जाए. So we have to keep this in mind whenever general anesthetics is given to the patients. And one of the parameters that is lipophilicity. To refer Rangendale by pharmacology, then you will identify the role of permeability discussed initially by Mayer and Overton. So that is called Mayer and Overton theory for general anesthesia. Okay, there are varieties of general anesthetics, and this all nitrous oxide we have, and other as well as some other intravenous general anesthetics are also there. Okay, I think we should stop here because whatever we will restrict ourselves from this. And if you have can another questions, so you can ask me as